everyone. So I've been getting quite a few questions about how the import plants are doing from that last order, specifically if they all survived, if they all died, basically just what happened with all of those plants. So I thought today I would give you an update on that. I do also have an update for you on the second replacement order for that original box of death order. It has shipped. And at the end of this video, I will let you know the progress on that shipment. But I also wanted to give you guys an update on some propagations that we did together and how they're doing. And also, I've actually done quite a bit of propagating just here and there on my own as well. So I'm going to show those propagations to you. And actually, I have some plants I need to give a trim and propagate even more so today. So we are going to do that as well. But let's go ahead, and I think we're going to start in the kitchen, because that's where most of the imports are, and I'll give you an update in there first, and then we'll go check out the other ones that are in my office in my IKEA cabinet. Okay, so I've gone ahead and put together all of the plants that are still in water from some of the box of death orders. These two monstera were from the most recent one, and one of them has finally started to put out some roots here. You can see there's other parts on that stem though that still look kind of bad. I don't think it's like rotted, it's just where the old roots were, because if you don't recall, I did remove all of the roots because they were so bad when we were unboxing it. But if I need to, when I go to pot this up, what I will probably actually do, just to be on the safe side, is cut below where that first new root is growing so that none of that stuff potentially becomes a problem. But at least it's getting roots. Now the other one over here, not so much yet. We have been in water the same amount of time, and we don't really have much going on here. Oh, we do have a root trying to start right there. But once again, you can see very black where those old roots were that were completely rotted. So it is possible that these two will make a comeback. I do just get a little bit nervous, like I said, with that kind of dark stuff, that sometimes when I go to pot it up, it could end up causing an issue. I will give it root rot treatment again before I pot it up, but only time will tell. At least the leaves did not completely die off, or at least the one leaf that was left on each of these did not completely die off. Now, this one back here I think was from the original box of death order, and it's like doing nothing. I don't even know, you guys. Okay, definitely we have a lot of dark spots on here as well from where it had rotted roots. It is getting some of that whitish stuff that kind of happens right before plants typically get roots. But once again, it's been in there for a long time and it is doing nothing. Now, the two leaves obviously are still alive here and they're looking good, but once again, only time will tell. I don't know what will happen. Theo, you are not supposed to be up here, sir, and you know it. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen, to get him off the counter. Okay, he's off the counter, and I will say I can't believe I made it through the last video with no interruption from him, but it was a rather short video compared to most of my videos. But here we have the last two pink princesses from the order that I got all the pink princesses in, which was not the box of death, but these got dry rotted back in May when I was going through everything I was going through in my life. And we are getting roots, as you can see on that one. Looks like maybe not as much on this one. Yeah, it doesn't look like we've really started to get roots on this one yet, but all the other ones did finally get enough roots for me to pot them up, and I've actually sold most of them. So that is good, and I will show you the other ones that I still have here in a second. But these should be okay. It's just taking a little bit longer for whatever reason for them to get roots, but they should be fine. Now, these are from the most recent order. Well, actually, one of them is not. So this varicosum I actually broke up from like the very first order I got for inventory back in March from Aroid Asia. I broke one of the varicosums up because it was really big. However, I don't know why, but this one has not gotten roots. It's just doing nothing. I don't even know. I don't know why it's not getting roots. I don't know why it's doing nothing. It's probably just going to end up getting trashed because at this point it's also starting to try to kill off this leaf. But let me set that one down. The other varicosums that are in here that were from the last order, as you can see here, this leaf is going to be done for. But if you can see there, we do have a root starting right there. So that is good. We do have the start of another leaf here. And I have had this before, you guys. This does not actually necessarily mean that this leaf is done for dead and that the growth point won't come in. And I can prove that to you here in a second when we look at another plant. So don't just think that that means that even though it has roots, nothing's going to happen. It will. But we also have in here some other varicosums from that same order. Once again, not looking so hot at all. At least this one still has some green on its leaves, but it is also starting to get a root, which is good. But in this case, you guys, I don't know what's going to happen because that growth point is done for. So there's a possibility it might try to pump out some kind of other growth point down here, but this might just be a goner. Let's see, I think we have one more. Now this one is interesting. So the leaf itself looks pretty good, but look here. It's pumping off 3 new growth points there, and there are the start of some roots. So that's pretty impressive. At least one of them is doing something like good and kind of extra good. So this one should be okay. Now this is a majestic that I don't think was from that order. I don't even know what order this was from. Maybe this is another one of the dry rot plants. Honestly, you guys, things blur together after a while, so not totally certain, but we do not have any roots going on this one yet. So it's just hanging out here until hopefully it does something. But I'm gonna get these back into their water and then we'll move up to what's happening up above the sink. Okay, so I did realize I didn't have product showcase on when we were looking at those last plants. So sorry if the focusing was weird. We should be good to go now though. So this is a propagation of my lemon lime maranta that I actually recently did just on my own on a whim, because when I was watering it, I noticed that some of the oldest vines had lost a lot of leaves higher up and just had a bunch of leaves at the very bottom, and it was looking a little bit weird. So I went ahead and trimmed those vines and put the ends of them where we still had leaves into water here. Now this is really recent, so there's not going to be any roots on that one, but I did also do it to another vine a little bit further back than that one that's over here. I also gave my green maranta a trim at the same time, and I think there is a red maranta propagation in there as well. So let me pull that down and we'll see if we have roots. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Oh, all right, so there's the green maranta. Definitely some roots going on there, so that's good. Probably another week or so and I'll be able to pot that one up. Let's see, the green maranta, no roots yet. Maybe I did do this one at the same time as the other ones we just looked at. I don't know, everything's blurring together nowadays, you guys. Here is the red maranta. It is also getting some roots going on, so that's good. Probably a few more weeks though before it'll be enough for me to want to pot this one up. So that's looking good, and marantas do, for the most part, you guys, root relatively quickly, unlike some other plants that we will look at here in a second. Okay, so moving back up here, this is the remaining Hoya curtisii propagations that we did together after Theo pulled that plant off of the shelf on the wall in the living room. And I did already pot up the other ones, but these just didn't have quite as much roots as I would like to compare to the other ones. So they're still baking for a bit, and I'll show you the ones that I potted up here in a second. This is actually a black velvet alocasia corm that I recently harvested when I was repotting my black velvet alocasia to be in a deeper pot because the corm had gotten very extended, and it is now starting to get its first leaf. Let's see if the camera will focus. And sorry, I'm so shaky today, you guys. My essential trimmers are just working in overdrive today. So we are starting to get our first leaf, and we do have roots. So as soon as that leaf pushes out, I will pot that up. So this is the splendid propagation we took from my personal splendid because Theo kept chewing the new leaves before they opened and they started to look like this, which did not look good. I do have something else in here I'll show you in a second, but this has been taking a hot minute here to root. It is getting roots, but very slowly. So not sure why it's taking so long, but it seems to be picking up a little bit. So hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll be able to pot this one up. Now, this is actually a propagation from a varicosum from one of the import orders that I recently put into water because it had grown very lanky from the original plant. As you can see, there were no leaves on these few nodes here, and it just looked funky. So I decided to cut this part off and turn it into another plant, and I will show you what the remaining plant looks like here in a bit. Put this back up there and grab the next thing I want to show you. Okay, so these Rhaphidophora tetrasperma cuttings have been in here for quite a while. We are finally just now starting to get some root activity going on. It has just taken forever. Every time I propagate this plant, it takes way longer than I would like it to start getting roots, but eventually it does get there. So probably a few more weeks away before we'll be able to pot this up. And then remember how I was telling you guys about how this over here doesn't necessarily mean that this is a dead, unviable grow point. The reason for that is because, one second, and I just realized Theo's been up here messing with the propagations, but anyways, so this grew from a growth point that looked like the one on that plant I just showed you. Now, what happened was there were two leaves, well, I guess there was one big leaf. This is a Philodendron majestic, by the way. This leaf just hasn't fully hardened off, so it's kind of hard to tell, but there was the brown growth point that this grew from, and then a big leaf. Well, the big leaf suddenly started to die off one day, and I hadn't been getting roots where the big leaf's node was. And so when that leaf died, I decided to just chop off where that node was since it wasn't getting roots. And when it did start to lose that leaf is when I started seeing green break through the brown kind of husk of where the growth point was, and this started to emerge. So I then just put this, if the camera will focus, into water here, and as you can see, we are already starting to get roots and another new growth point. So once again, this thing, before I had this node in water, when I had the other old node that I've cut off in water, it was in water for months doing nothing. And so I am now finally getting growth. So I might start doing this on some of my other imports that I have in water. If I start to have that problem again, just cut off the lowest, oldest node and stick the freshest, newest node in water. I don't know why sometimes those old nodes just don't want to produce roots. Maybe they are root spent, if that is even a thing, but at least we now have new growth and roots on this. So let me grab something else. Okay, I don't even know what this is. It's something from the box of death. Maybe a Soderoy? Maybe. I have no clue, but it's doing nothing. I'm still gonna leave it in the water though. Maybe by some miracle it will eventually do something. And speaking of doing nothing, these 2 glasses full of Monstera standolianas have literally done nothing. I think I've had like maybe 3 that actually developed roots. There is like nothing happening in here, you guys. Nothing. I don't even know why. Like I've got multiple nodes in the water here. Oldest nodes, new nodes. I don't know what is going on. If anybody has experience with propagating this plant in water and knows why this is happening to me, please let me know, because it's ridiculous. They've been in here forever. And it's just, a lot of them too. I think there's like, I don't know, 12 in there. It's just like a waste of plant if it's not going to do anything. So if you do have some tips, comment down below and let me know. But now let's go ahead and move on over to the propagation table and carts so I can show you how the ones I've potted up are doing. Okay, hopefully we aren't going to end up having a lot of problems filming over here because as you can see, the sun is still tracking directly through these windows right now. But a lot of what you're seeing on the table here, a lot of this is still from some of the first orders that I placed. So for example, this Philodendron gloriosum, I still haven't sold it yet. This was from the very first order back in sometime in March. It is getting ready to push out a new leaf down there. It is very well rooted. I have sold, I think, all of the other... Nope, there's one more over there on the end. So these are the last 2 of the 10 that I ordered that I have left. I still have a ton of the anthuriums, you guys, but they are rooting like crazy. Let me get you around the other side of the table where most of them are so I can show you. Okay, so they have all recently been watered, so it might be kind of hard to tell, but hopefully you guys can see, look at all of that root activity in there. They are so well rooted that I am now getting concerned that they are going to become root bound to the point of needing to be repotted before I sell them. So hopefully I can get them sold quicker than they've been moving. I mean, they aren't unreasonably priced. I guess people just aren't in the market for them right now or whatever it may be, but they're gorgeous. I absolutely love them. They are all doing fabulously. I can't wait to show you the other anthurium over there that you can't even see because of the sun. So let's go back around the other side of the table. Okay, so we're gonna have to kind of maybe pull him a little bit out of the sun, but this is the Anthurium padoradiatum. I think is how it's pronounced. I'll put it on screen for you. This is the newest leaf that just started emerging last week. I will flash up here for you what it looked like when it first started emerging. I am fascinated by when these leaves come in, like how they look, and then they quickly get to this size. You can see we still have the other one down here. Now, I have not actually listed these for sale yet because the roots are taking a little bit longer to start spreading around in the pot than they've been doing on the crystallinums. They're still doing it. I'm not going to try and pull one out of there right now because I have a feeling I'm going to knock the plants over, but they just aren't to that level yet, and they kind of aren't to a level that I'm comfortable with for listing it for sale yet, especially because it's an anthurium, and sometimes anthuriums can be picky. So, and here's two of the pink princesses down here that I had repotted up. Sorry about the sun. These have already been sold. The lady was supposed to come get them 2 weeks ago and she hasn't. Once again, like one of my recent videos told you, I've been fed up with some of this, people buying plants and then not showing up. Here are the silver swords from, I think this was actually from the first box of death order. It was one of the few plants that actually came in looking okay. I did break them up into multiple plants. I have already sold one, but they're doing great. Need to be watered, I can tell picking it up. But we do have roots spreading around in there. They're doing fine. A very resilient plant. A lot of the Syngonium albos from that first order, I think it was, died. This is one of the few that somehow survived. It had no leaves. As you guys recall, none of the Syngoniums kept any. Actually, no. This one was the only one that did look somewhat still alive in that first box of death order. And then there was another one that had lost all its leaves. I think we'll see it in a second. That ended up making a comeback, but the rest of them went to complete mush in water. It was bad. We still have quite a few. Theo! He just bit my ankle, you guys. Bad boy, leave my foot alone. He's never done that before. Not sure what that was all about. Anyways, I still have quite a few Monstera albos. They aren't moving very quickly. I'm probably going to stop carrying them. I don't know what it is. Everybody wants an albo, but everybody thinks it should cost them $40. And I'm like, that's not anywhere near logical. And I don't have them overly priced. I actually have cut my prices down on all of my albos. I can't go below a certain number because I want to make a minimum margin. I mean, I'm starting to think, though, I might have to take them down to where I'm just breaking even, but I don't want to do that. But I also don't want to be sitting here taking care of a ton of albos forever. So I don't know. I think the Monstera Thai constellations are more popular right now, but I can't source those at an acceptable price where I could even make a margin. So that's why I'm not carrying those, and won't be until mine is at a level where I can propagate it. A ton of the Soderoys that were previously in water from dry rotting and various other things have all gotten potted up. They're all doing well. I think I've got 20 of them. Once again, not moving as fast as I would like to. The Majestics took off out of nowhere. I think I have that one we saw in water. I have this big one here, and this one actually had a growth point that looked damaged, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be viable or not, so I hadn't listed it for sale. And then out of nowhere, do you see that new leaf right there? I am so sorry about the sun, you guys. Out of nowhere, this popped up from below the soil. So the damaged growth point still hasn't activated, but it's now actively growing because somewhere underneath the surface of the soil, it decided it had a will to live. So I will definitely be able to list this one for sale soon. I am just waiting for the roots to get a little bit more excessive in the pot, if you will. The Splendids are all doing great. I have sold quite a few Splendids. I had a lot of interest in the two that I have left, but nobody's actually bought them. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, here's the big strawberry shake that I received. Let me get around here over Theo. This is the newest leaf that just started coming in, and that is going to be one good looking leaf, let me tell you. So this one is doing well. I did have a couple of the ones in the box of death order that went to mush. I think just one. Actually, no, it ended up being two, and I only told Aroid Asia to replace one because I thought the other one was going to make it, and then it didn't. So here we are. I do have, let's see. Oh, I did move, let me grab this, my Syngonium albo. I think I'd mentioned this to you guys, out of my personal collection to be sold into inventory because I decided to buy at that plant swap the Syngonium red spot tricolor, and I'm going to keep that one in place of this one. So that's why that's been added to inventory. I do have some plants down here on the floor, which is always a risk because of Theo. Once again, we just have some more albos down here. There is the varicosum. Is that the one? Yes. So that varicosum right there is the one that had that very tall growth point with empty nodes and a tiny leaf that you just saw that I have in water. So just imagine how that would look. So I went ahead and cut that off. This one is also just kind of like way high up on the vine, but it's not as bad. So I think we'll be okay like that. And then there's the other splendid that I have available. So all of these are doing well. A lot of these were the dry rot plants. I think I've had problems with maybe 2 of the plants that were dry rotted that I potted back up going downhill again. And I put them back in water and now they're potted back up again. So hopefully 3rd time in a pot's the charm, if you will. Here are some of the standelianas here that I did pot up that got roots. Now the leaves did curl up. Let's see if I can get a better angle here with the light. I guess it's a little better. The leaves did curl up when it was in water, and so they just aren't going to uncurl. The new growth, however, though, will start to come in flat. No, that's of course in shadow where you can't see. Let me pull it up. So you can see that new leaf down there at the bottom that's coming in is coming in flat. So it will be fine as the new growth comes in, but I'm gonna wait till I have a lot of new growth that's flat. Theo! Quit! Sorry, you guys. Theo just decided to try to eat my splendid that's behind me. Oh my God. It's like if he's not the center of attention, he's gonna act up. But anyway, so I'm waiting for a lot of new leaves to come in that are flatter so these don't look so wonky before I list them for sale, but they are rooting nicely. A lot more soderoys over here. Still have this philodendron glorious, which is getting ready, I think, to finally push out its first new leaf. I really have had a lot of interest in this one, and then people haven't bought it, and I think maybe it's because it's one leaf. So I think once this second leaf comes in, maybe this one will sell. And let's see. Moving down here. Okay, Theo! Sorry, you guys. It's like I can't be in the kitchen with him without him acting up. You. Be good. Do not chew on the plant below you. Do not chew on the plant behind you. Do you hear me? You be good. I know you're capable of being a good boy. You be good. We're almost done in here. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see back here are the succulents that we propagated together in a recent video, maybe not that recent anymore. There is another pink princess that's been potted up back there. I do still have some baby philodendron Florida ghosts over here that I potted up that I think these were part of the dry rot situation as well. Definitely still have some more soderoys over here. Like I said, I got a lot of soderoys. But let's get back down. I'm gonna sit down here to get to this bottom shelf. Okay, so down here we have more soderoys. There is a propagation from my variegated tropical hibiscus back there. This is the cuttings that we had. Let me move this out of the way. Those are the cuttings that we took, well, that Theo took off of Pearl when he pulled the shelf down off of the wall. Originally, we had put those in water, but honestly, you guys, they weren't doing anything, and some of the pearls were getting nasty and dying off in the water. So I decided to redo it as a coil on top of soil and keep that soil slightly moist method, and so far, it seems to be doing pretty good. So the last plant I want to look at in here, though, is the Hoya curtisii, which we also propagated that same day. And like I said, I still have those few in water that I'm waiting to get more roots, but these are already potted up. And let's see, of course, it's just been watered, so you're not going to be able to see very well, but there are a bunch of roots already starting to kind of push around in there. So that one is going to be good to go. Probably won't see a lot of new growth up here until those roots really fill in, but super happy that this one worked out. Theo, we're leaving the kitchen, Theo. Don't you worry. We're leaving the kitchen. Don't you worry. All right, let's reconvene in my office. Okay, you guys. I just noticed that my cord has come unattached where I had it stuck to the back of the cabinet where you couldn't see it, so I need to fix that sometime today. But as you can see, there are a lot of propagations currently residing in the IKEA cabinet. There is only one plant in here that is in my permanent collection, and I did recently repot it, so we'll take a look at that in a second. But I do have 2 of the Mandula pothos in here. I do still have one in water. I must have forgotten to show you that one when we were in the kitchen. But that was the one that kind of started having root rot issues on it. But these 2 have done just fine. And I think I sold the other one. Yes, I already sold the other one. Now, this right here, this little pot, this was from the second box of death. And it had a few roots and one tiny leaf, and I'm pretty sure it's dead now. But I do have this super baby Soderoy from a previous order. And this was actually cut off of another Soderoy. Actually, I think it broke off when I was unpacking it or something, and I put it in water and it finally got roots, but they weren't a lot of roots. That's why it's in this tiny little like egg carton thing, but it is putting out new growth. It is losing its oldest leaf over there, but it is like the world's cutest, tiniest little philodendron Soderoy. And then this guy I think might actually make it. So this is the philodendron Red Anderson, one of them, I think, from the second box of death. And as you can see, we are getting new growth, and it is a smaller leaf than it had before, which is not unexpected because it went down to 1 node and 1 2-inch long root before I put it into this little pot. And the reason, oh, look at that little baby leaf. Look how small that is. And the reason I put it in here, went ahead and potted it up, is because I felt like the stem was starting to get a little bit soft. And I was worried if I left it in water, it was going to start to go to mush, which the other ones went to mush like within 2 days of receiving that delivery. Put them into water and yeah, they were done for. So same thing I think with the strawberry shake that we got in that order. But as you can see, I also have a ton of Begonia maculata propagations up here. Begonia maculatas have sold well for me traditionally, and it's super easy to propagate that plant. It grows like mad. So I regularly just take cuttings off of my mother plant. You can see these were obviously further up the plant, but you can take a node with no leaves, put it into water. It will root very quickly. Hold on. I hear somebody up to no good. I hear somebody up to no good. We are knocking over the 2 fake plants that exist in this house, because obviously this is a very little dark corner, and actually I used to have them in an area that had no windows whatsoever. But I used to have 3 of these. One was in a little gray concrete pot. But guess what happened to it? Theo got up here, started messing with it like this, knocked it onto the ground, and completely broke it. I do usually have some glass bowls filled with shells from some of my travels over here, but yesterday he tried to push those off. So they've been relocated to somewhere out of his reach. I'm telling you guys, he's crazy. He's sweet when he's sweet, but he's crazy. He's like a Sour Patch Kid. You know the Sour Patch Kid commercials? Where'd he go? I don't even know where he just went. There's George being nice and chill under the dining room table. But yeah, Sour Patch Kid commercial where they're like, first they're sweet, then they're sour. That's kind of how I feel about Theo. But let's go back to the plants. All right, so I believe I was mentioning that with Begonia maculatas, you don't even need to have a leaf on your cutting. You can just stick it into water. It will root very quickly. It pretty much roots from almost anywhere on the stem. It doesn't necessarily have to be a node. Like you can kind of almost cut the plant anywhere and put it into water. As long as you have a node to push a leaf out, you should be good, because none of these that are in these little pots had leaves when I put them in the pots here. They were rooted into water with no leaves, put into these pots with no leaves, and as you can see, we now have leaves on all of them. But they will always be kind of smaller like that at first, of course, than when you have like the top cuts of the plant. And actually, I don't even know that that is the top. Yes, that is a top cut. The other one is not. And then I think I have a giant top cut I'll show you on the bottom here in a second. But this is the pearls and jade pothos cuttings that we took together. I did pot these up, it says on here on 8/13, and we are doing okay so far. Back behind here, we do have some more varicosums, if it'll focus, that I potted up recently. I think they were dry rot situations. Oh my gosh. Theo, stop. Don't eat the syngonium. You are just being a tool today, sir. Get out of the plant. I'm gonna have to shut you out of here. 1 second, you guys. Okay, he's in timeout outside the room. He might come and claw at the door or cry. If you hear that in the background, that's what's going on. And I promise you guys, he does not do this stuff if I'm not in the room. I recently went out of town for a few days. My friend who's still living here was here with him and everything, but when she was gone at work all day, I have a camera, specifically a cat cam in the living room to keep an eye on the cats. Like, he didn't mess with anything. He only does it when I'm in the room, so once again, pretty sure he's just trying to get my attention. But we do need to propagate this today. Speaking of, it is getting quite a bit long over here. You can see that long runner over there is going to tempt Theo, and in general, we're just kind of, let me get around this angle so maybe you can see better. This side is kind of like flopping down, and now there's kind of a little bit of a gap. So I just want to give it a little bit of a trim up to get it a little bit bushier. So we will do that here in a bit. But back to the cabinet again. I swear this video is just going to be all over the place because of Theo, you guys. Okay, so there are a few varicosums up there from a previous order. One of them was one of the dry rot ones. I actually think that one in that kind of opaque pot might have been one that survived the first box of death order. Maybe. I would have to, let's see. Yep, no, yes. I think so. And I do have a melanochrysum back there. Actually, I have relocated all of the melanochrysums that I have left to the cabinet because I was just having such a problem with the leaves coming in and getting stuck. And I had to cut some of them back because of that. And so now I'm just kind of waiting for them all to get new growth so that I feel comfortable selling them. I think this one has a hole in it because it got stuck when it was coming in. They seem to get less stuck when they're in the cabinet. Hold on, Theo's knocking stuff off that shelf again. Actually, I take it back, you guys. This time he went for the pictures. Telling you. Crazy, crazy boy. Crazy boy. But yes, so all of the melanochrysums are in here now because of that. Here is the philodendron micans. I don't remember if we did this together or not. I can't recall, but 2 very full pots here, and honestly, I was getting distracted potting these up the day that I did it by guess who? Theo. And really, this should have been 4 different potted plants. This is a lot, you guys. I don't even know. I think there's like 12 to 15 cuttings in each of these, but hey, it's going to give someone a very full, nice plant. And then over here, I don't know if you guys can see, I want it to focus on the back there. Is it going to do it? There we go. That is my Tradescantia albovitata. I did recently give it another trim. And once again, that thing just roots so easily. I just took the cuttings, shoved them into some soil, and it's already started to push out some new growth. So I'll be listing that for sale soon. Here's the other philodendron strawberry shake that survived that first order. Looking nice, giving me some half moon leaves and things as well. Let's move on to the next shelf. Okay, so coming down to this shelf, once again, more melanochrysums. And as you can see, like this new leaf came in great since I moved it into the cabinet. So that's where they're living until I sell them. This is the Hoya linearis cuttings that we did in that same video as the Curtisii and the string of pearls. Potted these up, I think the same day that I did the Curtisii, and it is doing well. I think, let's see, once again, just watered it. You're not gonna be able to see the roots spreading, but there are roots spreading in there. This is one of the Calathea warskowesii propagations from the last video. I think that was the last video. And they're all doing fabulously. I have somebody who wants to come buy one of them. I'm just trying to coordinate with her a date to pick them up. Oh, I almost forgot about the corn babies over here. So got my little Bambino corn baby over here. And then we've got a Maharani one over here doing its thing. I don't remember. Oh, this one was growing out of the pot from the top of the soil. So I just cut it off and that's why I propagated it. This one fell out of the soil when I replanted the mama plant because it was getting kind of overgrown. The corms were growing too high and it was getting floppy. We did that together in a video recently and it just fell out of the soil. So I went ahead and, propagated it because why not? Some of these other plants back here, you see how that tag says S and nothing else? It's because it's a syngonium. I knew it was a syngonium when I potted it up from the last box of death order, but it had no leaves or anything. I wasn't sure what kind of syngonium it was. Looking at that leaf, it looks almost pure white, so that must be a syngonium albo. There is another one back here where I'm waiting for it to try to push something in. I'm pretty sure that one is an albo too, though. I think I could see striping on the stem on that one. But once again, I don't know if that one's gonna make it or not. I lost so many of the albos that stems just went to mush and water, you guys, from that last order. It was not good. This is my one permanent plant in here. This is the Anthurium Silver Blush. I absolutely adore it. And I did recently take it up a pot size because it was root bound. It was pushing all the dirt out, and you can see it's already starting to push those roots around more in there. It is a very fast growing plant for me. It is getting ready to push a new leaf, and it looks like it might be getting stuck. I hate trying to unstick anthurium leaves. In my experience, that just leads to a damaged leaf no matter what. So I might just leave it be and see what happens. But let's move down to the last shelf. Okay, so over here we have another unknown, well, I have it marked as Syngonium albo, so I must have seen striping on the stem, but I don't know if that's gonna make it, you guys. Oh, wait, it is starting to push out a new growth point. Can y'all see that? This thing does not want to focus for me. You see that growth point starting? Okay, that's good. That's a good sign. Maybe it will make it. Fingers crossed. We have our other Warskawesii, or two of our other Warskawesii. Having a hard time saying it today. Propagations down here, once again, doing great. See, we're pushing another new leaf out there. Do have the Marble Queen propagations that we did recently together, potted up here. And, oh, I think I missed the other pot of these was on the upper shelf, but it's doing well as well. Still have some variegated hibiscus propagations from forever ago in the back there. I don't know. Nobody wants to buy that plant. It's annoying because it's a beautiful plant. And then we have more Begonia maculatas. There is like the biggest top cut out of all the ones that I recently propagated. And then we do have, I think this is the last, yep, that is the last philodendron brandy propagation that I did before I sold my mama plant. And it is pushing out some new growth, but definitely needs to fill in some more before I'm going to be able to sell that one. I think that is all of kind of the import and propagation updates, unless I've forgotten something. So why don't we go ahead now and take care of like trimming down and propagating the few plants around this household that need it. Okay, I think this lighting is pretty good. I'm just trying to figure out, some of these are really long, as you can see, and even though it's not technically touching the floor over there, it's just going to tempt Theo and everything. But let's see what this is actually connected to, like how many vines we have here. So this is all coming from this vine, which looks like it's lost some leaves up here, which is kind of annoying, but I don't know that I want to cut that all the way back. This vine is over here. We are all kinds of tangled. Ugh. See, so this one is getting really long too. I don't know, I just don't know if I want to cut it super high up. I mean, that's a lot to cut off. Well, I'm gonna have to cut it up into multiple nodes anyway, so let's just take a little bit off and see what we think. And then maybe we'll take some more off, but this long one's gotta get taken back quite a bit. So let's see, where do we start to get bald? Oh, it's about to lose this leaf too, so that's a lot of baldness. Let's just start right here. Okay. And then let me do, should I just go ahead and remove this leaf? I don't know. And then let me do the same thing with this long one. Let's just go maybe right there. See how we're sitting and everything. I don't know. I mean, this one still sits kind of high up here. This one is really hanging low. I think we're just going to cut this one way back. We're doing it. Let's see. It's done. That was painful. But it'll grow back bushier from there, so that'll be good. Man, I'm just going to remove this leaf because it's on its way out. All right, so like I said, this one is kind of, because it's angling up, I guess there's part of an old leaf there. I mean, that's kind of not too bad, I don't think. I mean, I'll take you guys further out in a second so we can make a better decision, but first I need to, let me re-angle you if I can. The light might get a little off, but let me give this a go. Oh no, the light stayed pretty good. So this long lanky one over here needs to go. This vine, let's see, I think this is part of what is over here, which once again, hanging low, but it's not missing as many leaves higher up as the other ones are, so I don't know what is up with this leaf. Can you guys see that? Look at those curled lobes. That's weird. And it's just kind of flopping around. I don't know. We might cut that leaf off in a second. So I'm just going to cut low on this one for now. Let's see. Not like crazy low, but we'll start here. And I mean, you guys can just see kind of how it's just hanging really like heavy right now. And I don't know that if I keep cutting more off, if it's going to like bounce back up or not. That's kind of what's got me going, what should I do here? This one I wasn't going to cut, but it's kind of lobbing around too. Let's see. Maybe I'll cut just a little bit more off this one. I think that made it worse. Sometimes you just never know, you guys, so this might be getting cut all the way back now. It's getting cut all the way back. It's fine. It'll grow fast. It's a fast grower. It'll fill back in. But this side's going to look a little bit weird now, and that's fine. I don't know what is up with this leaf. I'm removing it. Over weird leaf situations. Okay. Let's see. Now see? This is what I'm talking about, you guys. It just looked crazy. I think we're just going to have to cut it almost all the way back. At least one of those that's hanging the lowest. It'll be fine. It'll be fine, Drea. It will fill back in nicely. Quit freaking out. Here we go. This one. Yeah. We're going to go all the way up here. There it is. And then this looks crazy, so, you know. All right. I don't know why I'm freaking out, because when I first bought her, this is what she looked like anyway, so it'll be fine. I can make a lot of beautiful babies from what we just cut and sell them to people so they can have a beautiful version of her. Let's check out the other side. I think the other side was okay. I mean, there's a little bit hanging low over there, but it doesn't have that big old gap. So what I'm going to probably do is just leave her like this, and then I'm going to rotate her so that the side we just chopped faces the window, so hopefully it'll fill back in more quickly. And then I am going to cut all of these up, and we're going to get them into water. Before we move on to the next plant that I was planning on propagating, quick note about my Tenanthe luberciana here. We are getting extremely top heavy down here. I'm sure you can see that that is definitely drooping down there, and so we look like we have a big gap here. So I probably do need to propagate this at some point. Once again, that's going to leave a huge gap over here. So what I might end up doing sometime soon, because I don't have what I need to do it right now, is to put some kind of stake into the pot that I can support those two on so that they're not flopping like that. But if we come around this way, I mean, you guys can see how big this plant has gotten. I mean, it looks droopy right now, not because it's sad or needs to be watered. It was just watered. It's fine. It's just getting so top heavy that it's like falling over on itself. I mean, if we look at it like from this side, you guys can tell happy, healthy leaves. We're pumping out a ton of new growth still, as you can see right there. But yeah, we gotta do something about that. But that will wait for another day. Right now, we're gonna go into the bathroom and trim the cordatum. Okay, the lighting in this room is never fun, you guys. But we need to give this gal a trim, not only because we are trying to grow down into the Maranta again, but because, as you can see here, We have some bald spots going on. We have some yellowing leaves going on. I think it's related to the fact that it's been so hot outside that this window, which is east facing, just a reminder, just has been getting so hot. Like, I mean, I'm hot just standing here. So I think that's why I've been losing some of these leaves. I did rotate her a few days ago so that the side that was facing the window was not facing the window to help kind of salvage what's going on over here. But I was just gonna trim the bottom vines, but because we're getting these bald vines up here, we might cut some of them higher up. Is that an aerial root? Do you guys see that? Hold on. I think that's an aerial root. It is, it's an aerial root coming off of this node. Where is it? Or is it, maybe it's coming off a top node? Oh no, this is the end of it. It's looped itself around here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, that's the end of it. It's coming off of a node way up there. That's the first time I've had like a crazy aerial root like that on this plant. That's insane. Huh. All right, I'm gonna try and get you guys on a tripod, hopefully in a position where you can actually see what I'm doing, and we will start trimming. Okay, so this is pretty long vine here that I'm gonna go ahead and trim first. It was pretty tangled up in there. I think I'm gonna go pretty high. Okay, if I can get it untangled from everything else, we will be in business. Come on now. Let go of your friends. Just let go. Come on. And there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this other long one down here next, kind of almost at around probably the same height, maybe, yeah, right here. Okay, and that one's not as tangled, so there we go. And then I think I'm gonna wait on this one. Let's do this one next. Probably the same height as those last ones, so here. Okay, and then that leaves, I think, just the ones that are missing leaves and stuff, and I don't know if you can really see them well from the position you're in right now. I'm just looking at how many of them there are here that we're gonna have to trim first. I think there's just two, but once again, I'm actually seeing a lot more balding than I thought, but let me move you into a better position first. Okay. So this one is missing quite a few leaves here. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut right here. And then this one is the one that has the yellowing leaves. So once those die off, this is really gonna be bald, even probably more so than the one that I just cut. So I definitely wanna take this one up above that point. But actually looking further up here, hold on, let me get this unhooked from this vine next to it. So when I'm looking up at the top, there's actually a lot of baldness up there all the way at the top. I don't know how well you guys are gonna be able to see it, but because of that, I'm gonna cut way up at the top if I can't fall over trying to do so. Okay, right there. Okay, so the lighting's better in here, so hopefully you can tell more what I was talking about, but up where this was at the top of the pot had lost a lot of leaves too. We have all these yellowing leaves that are gonna leave it bare in the middle, so that's why I went ahead and took this whole one off. But this is the last plant that we needed to propagate today, so I'm gonna get the yellowed leaves removed, get this cut up and into water, and then I will catch you up on what is going on with the most recent Aroid Asia replacement order. So like I said at the beginning of this video, the second replacement order for the original box of death has shipped from Aeroid Asia. It did ship over a week ago though, and currently the package is not here. It was supposed to be delivered by end of day this Monday. Today is, let me think about this. Today is Thursday. I've been messing up my days all week this week, you guys. I don't know what's going on. Today is Thursday though, the package is still not here, and that is because it came into the country via Los Angeles. It then went to Ohio, which is not uncommon. They did ship it DHL again this time. UPS was last time, DHL was the first time. They both are having issues apparently, but it went to Ohio. I got a notification saying it cleared customs within 24 hours, but then for some odd reason, it got shipped back to Los Angeles. And as far as I can tell, it has been sitting in a DHL facility in Los Angeles since 10:57 a.m. on Monday morning. Monday, the day that it was supposed to be delivered on. I have since then had a notification pop up that says the customs process may begin while the package is still en route, which doesn't make sense because I had already gotten a notification that it cleared customs when it was in Ohio. So I have no idea what's going on. I did call DHL. When I call DHL, depending on who I get, I may get a different story. Depending on the day of the week, I may get a different story. But this particular person seemed to think the package had been quarantined. Couldn't give me any more information other than that. I did reach out to Aeroid Asia and said, hey, can you guys look into this on your end? Maybe because you're the shipper, you can get some more information. But the package is not moving. I am not holding out hope for this package. It's just becoming quite a farce at this point. I mean, I don't know. I never had problems with the shipments before 3 shipments ago. And once again, now I've had problems with 2 from DHL. DHL just misplaced the package after it got to Dallas for a week the first time. I then had problems with the one that came UPS, but as you guys saw, most of those problems were because US Customs tore everything open and then didn't seal the box back well, or all those things, you know, so many different problems on that last order. And then this one, who knows what's going on. If it is quarantined, I don't know why they quarantined it. I don't know if they opened it and found something. I don't know. So hopefully I will be able to get some more information and be able to give you guys another update. But once again, not happy about the situation, but I am happy that Aeroid Asia did ship this replacement one way quicker than the last time. It usually takes 3 to 4 weeks, even when they're trying to replace something that was messed up. They shipped this one in less than 2 weeks, so I really do appreciate that. But other than that, I hope you guys have enjoyed getting an update on the other imports as well as all the propagations today. If so, please be sure to click that like and or subscribe button down below, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Aloha!